Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates. The notable additions this winter for the Bucks was bringing in veteran switch-hitting catcher Yasmani Grandal on a one-year deal. Grandal is less effective than he was early on in his prime, but the 35-year-old should be a mentor for the up-and-coming catcher in Henry Davis. They added to their pitching depth by bringing in lefty Martin Perez, who pitched to a 10-6 record, and Aroldis Chapman, who were both members of the World Series winning Texas Rangers a year ago. They continued to add to their pitching depth via trade, this time with the Atlanta Braves, as they added crafty lefty Marco Gonzalez. They switched their focus to the offense and brought in some pop from the left side with first baseman Rowdy Tellez, who joins the Pirates on the heels of a 13-home run campaign with the Brew Crew last season. They also brought back fan favorite Andrew McCutchen on a one-year deal, coming off a 12-home run season and driving in 43 runs. Bright spots for last season for the Bucks was Brian Hayes taking another step in his development as he posted career highs in wins above replacement, hits, home runs, and RBIs, and capped it all off by snagging his first Gold Glove at third base. Fans will be anxious to see the return of electric shortstop Oneil Cruz, who was limited to just 9 games last year after suffering a season-ending leg injury. His strong arm from short and the ability to hit from both sides at the plate will pay dividends for the Pirates moving forward. After having the first overall pick 2 of the last 3 years, the future is looking bright for the Bucks, as starting pitcher Paul Skeens will enter his first full pro season as he looks to build off a strong collegiate career with the LSU Tigers. Let's take a deeper look into the Pirates roster for the upcoming 2024 season. All right, Dylan. So obviously you take a look at this lineup, and the one thing that sticks out to you is Oneil Cruz, right? He was only limited to 9 games last year. He's an electrifying star on this team. And then obviously you got a guy like Brian Reynolds, and there's actually some pretty good names on this list, but obviously it's a pretty young group.
Yeah, I like Jack Sawinski a lot.
Yeah.
He's had some clutch moments last year, and I just think that he's a guy that fits the Pirates mold. He's kind of like the second coming of, I'm not gonna say he's as good as McCutchen, but I feel like he's kind of like has that love for the city and wants to be there.
Yeah.
So I think he's a guy to watch out for this year. Obviously, they did bring Kutch back again.
Yeah.
Um, you know, he's gonna either be in a full-time DH role. Last year, he had 12 homers, batted 256.
Yeah.
I could see Rowdy Tellez doing some DH. I could see Grandal doing some DH.
Yeah.
I can see them adding maybe somebody and kind of, roving at that DH spot. I don't think McCutcheon's going to be in there every day this year.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe he is the full-time DH. And I know last year he wasn't a full-time, but he did get 473 plate appearances. So they brought in Rowdy Tellez after he was non-tendered by the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
He should be a good fit. They have him projected for 17 homers last year, kind of taking over that role for Carlos Santana.
Yep.
And then yeah, just a young team. They have Henry Davis on the bench here.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know
know if
about
he's
that.
moving back behind the plate. Last year he played outfield.
Yep.
Um, but obviously the guys that they had there got traded away or lost to free agency. So you would think they're putting Davis back behind the plate. They said he wasn't going to stop being a catcher. It
Yeah.
was just for that one year they were using to play outfield. They have Grandal in the starting lineup. I would assume it would be Davis,
Yeah.
who had a pretty nice year last year. 7 homers and 213, but he had some moments, only 250 plate appearances.
Yep.
And they're projecting him to have 14 bombs this year. And he's a 1-1. I mean, first pick in the draft, you would think that
Right.
he'd get some starting role, especially on a team that's, still building towards the future.
And the guy for me, Brian Hayes, career high year last year for him, picked up a Gold Glove. He's kind of the face of that franchise. I don't know, maybe you don't want to call it the face, but he's like one of their top guys. Struggled his first couple years in the majors and really broke out. He's a 4-win player last year. So um you look for him to continue building on his resume. I really like the addition of Grandal, like you mentioned. Like I feel like that's a really good guy for Davis to learn under. Like they can both kind of share that catcher's role. Obviously, Grandal is not the player that he was when he was on the Dodgers and before he went to the White Sox. But I mean,
Yeah.
he's a good defensive catcher, so that's a good guy to learn under. They definitely could use an upgraded second base, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we can go over the free agent tracker right
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
These are your second base options.
Yeah.
I could see Elvis Andrus going there in a veteran role, similar to McCutcheon. But
Yeah.
also I can see a Tim Anderson moving over to second base, having Anderson and O'Neill Cruz up the middle.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like the perfect fit. He's gonna get the opportunity to play every day, get back in a lineup that could use his presence. He was a batting champion a couple seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Tim Anderson for the Pirates. It's
Yep.
saying it's only going to cost them $8 million, and based off their payroll, I think they can afford it. Obviously, the Pirates don't spend money very
No.
much, but that's
No.
not going to be a long-term deal. He's coming off of the worst year of his career.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the 1 year 8 million is nothing. I mean, it's
No.
it's really for a former all-star that still has some juice there. I really believe that. I think he's on par, to have a bounce back year. He's only 31. You don't just lose that hit tool overnight. I think there
Right.
really was some injury last year. Obviously frustrating
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere there in Chicago.
Yep.
I think that this guy could be, like a Marcus Semien who had a down year,
Right. Went
went
to
to your
Toronto.
Blue Jays
Yep.
for a year, went off, and then got a big deal,
Right.
right? So I can see that happening. But other guys, I could also see Gene Segura. He was really bad last year.
Yeah.
But again, a vet guy. Colton Wong makes some sense, but he wasn't very good last year. And then one guy that's a multi-positional guy is Kike Hernandez. Um,
Yeah. I'm shocked he's
and if
not
he's
signed.
looking to get the playing time,
Yeah.
yeah, well, if he's trying to get the everyday playing time,
Mm-hmm.
again, I think this is a perfect fit because he could play some outfield, he could play some second base primarily.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's going to be one of those things. Like, that's why he went to the Red Sox, right?
Right.
He left the Dodgers to go be a starter.
Right.
He can
That's
be a starter for the Pirates, maybe on a 1 year deal, maybe on a 2 year deal. But, if he plays well enough, he's going to get traded at the deadline and go to a contender anyway. So,
yeah.
maybe something
This let's
for.
take a look at the Pirates pitching here for a sec, Dylan. Like
Yeah.
it's actually a pretty solid
Oh,
oh whoops. It's actually a pretty solid rotation. Like it's young, right? Obviously, Mitch Keller took a big step last year. They added a veteran in Marco Gonzalez and a guy like Martin Perez who can both be in the rotation and pitch in the bullpen. But the guy I want to talk about is Paul Skeens, right? First overall pick last year, shut down kind of towards the end of the year there, but this is his first full pro season. Probably going to start in AAA. I'm not sure if he'll break camp with Pirates unless he has a really good spring, but that guy's got tremendous stuff, and he's obviously the future ace of this team.
yeah, absolutely. I just don't know if they're going to bring him up it's all going to be based off of where they're at, right?
Right,
If
right,
I mean, they were good in April into May, and then
yeah.
some injury stuff started to happen.
They started
So
the season 20, what was it, 20 and 25 and like 5 or something like that. It was something crazy like that. Like it
I don't
was
know if it was that crazy, but it was they were hot.
yeah, well, yeah, they had a really good
Yeah.
month for sure.
Yeah. So um I can see him coming up if they're in it, but also I don't know what kind of place that front office is in as far as adding, even if they
Right,
were in it this year.
right.
Right? So if anything, I see a mid season call up, and then even then it'll just be to get the feet wet. And I think they could be maybe a full go or start to trade for some pieces the following year. So 2025, 2026.
Right,
But we've been saying this with the Pirates for a couple years now.
right.
New GM there,
Yeah,
right?
Ben
But
Sherrington. Yeah,
the ownership's never been willing to spend, even when they were good. So, you know, they had Garrett Cole and they had McCutcheon, Gregory Polanco when he was,
yep,
something.
yep.
They had guys and they never spent. So I don't think anything's going to change, especially in this new market where the contracts have gone even more up.
Right. Yeah. Well, they were even a little hesitant to sign Reynolds, right? And they finally extended
Yeah.
him 15 mil per season. So that was good to see at least. Like that like everyone thought that was going to be another good player that they were ultimately going to trade, but they ended up holding on to him. So I mean, if you're a Pirates fan, like that's a good sign. Maybe changing in the future for that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
where are they projected in the standings for this upcoming year?
Yeah, so they're projected last. I don't think that that is set in stone. I
Yeah.
mean, the Reds, again, that's another young team that's
Mhm.
starting to turn it around. The Brewers are trying to sell pieces, but also bought some pieces,
Right.
right, with Reese Hoskins. So that's kind of a weird deal. And the Cubs, they're and they got Craig Counsell, but they haven't re-signed Bellinger.
Right.
You know, like they're it says 81 and 81, but uh,
Like this
I'm
lineup or this sorry lineup, this division is just such a coin flip. Like
yeah.
I feel like anybody could win this division. Like
Yeah, they have
this
the last
division's
place
wide
team from
open.
last year being in first place this year.
Right.
So, and let's be honest, yeah, the Cardinals on paper probably the best team in this division. They
Right.
bolstered their pitching. And then obviously you have Arenado and Goldschmidt there. So,
Hmm.
yeah, if I had to go based off of just eye test, yeah, I would think the Cardinals have a better year this year than they did last year.
Hmm.
But, they were the last place team last year. There's something going on there last year that was unfixable. And we'll see how that carries over to 2024. I mean, like you said, it's a coin flip.
Hmm.
Anybody can win this. I think that the Pirates,
They got
they
some
have
good
them on.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, they were 76 and 86 last year. They think they're going to be a game better this year,
Hmm.
you know. But I think if you add a Tim Anderson or you add something like that, I think they could be in the mix.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. That'll do it
Yeah.
for this Pirates Outlook. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel. We're also on TikTok, so check us out on TikTok. We'll be posting some videos on there, and we'll see you on the next Outlook.